For me, being a migrant in Suriname has come down to color. Being white in a society where the majority of the people are dark-skinned doesn't by definition mean that you are a migrant. But I am an outsider, someone different, someone who doesn't know, someone who's not allowed to do the same things in the same way as everyone else. My name is Zoe. I am a white Belgian woman who lives in Suriname, a country in the north of South America with a small population of 500,000 people, consisting of at least 6 different ethnic groups. The indigenous people, Maroons, Creole, Chinese, Javanese and Hindustani are the most known. There are some Europeans living in Suriname, but they belong to the minority. I am one of them. Going into conversations with other migrants in Suriname, I realized that not my color, but the prejudice that goes with it is the real problem I am not integrated as yet. Being a migrant in itself is being different than anyone else, and difference comes with prejudice.
My experience here as a Latina in Suriname, it's like they think you are a prostitute immediately. Immediately when they know you're a Latina, they think you're a hooker because a lot of Venezuelan, a lot of Brazilian, girl from Cuba, they come here and they were like in these places for prostitution, right? So in the street, you know how it is here in Suriname when they see you, then like that. So of course I'm not going to look. So as I don't react,
Robelis
the
Mujica
guy just
is
yell at
28
me like,
years
"I
old
will
and
give you
comes
a
from
hooker.
Venezuela.
I will
She
give you
never
a
planned on
hooker."
staying in Suriname. She was supposed to come here, work hard, save money and go back to Argentina, where she built up a life after leaving Venezuela in 2014. But because she could not find a job in Argentina, she came to live back with her father, who lives and works in Suriname since 2005.
Sometimes they also think I'm a white woman and they think they come straight to me to ask me money or stuff like that. So I think themselves they put sometimes these bars or like they are too stuck in the past. They still have that resentment. For one day I was walking in the ghetto, two black girls were passing by and they spit exactly when they saw me. Like the expression and the sound they made, it was like they were doing it because I was passing by. And for me, it was like, there is something here in Suriname that they are a little judgmental at first, but maybe sometimes when they get to know you, they change. Another day, I was in town and I saw these two black girls, and I needed to ask an address. So I went and I asked them, "Hi, can you let me know where is this?" And then they were like with this attitude. And then I told them, "Oh, you're so beautiful," and they completely changed. Sometimes I feel that I always have to make them feel like I'm not better than them. That's the truth. But like you have to remind them that like we are the same. But they are always in that defense, like they think that you think you're better than them.
I recognize myself in the stories Robelis is telling. I too experience some hostility against myself, not because of who I am, but what I stand for. 200 years ago, almost all white people in Suriname were slave owners. Until today, a lot of Surinamese people have a prejudice about white people. They all think they know it better and they are here trying to tell us what to do. It is the heritage I must carry, just as black people in Europe have to cope with theirs.
When I come in a group with only white people and I see people looking at me like, hey, what is this guy going to do? Then I can feel insecure, but then I have to conquer my feeling of being insecure and being myself and present myself the way I am. And if I'm angry about something, then I don't think like, hey, let me shut up because they always think that black people are aggressive. No, I'm very angry about what's happening, so I'm gonna show my aggression about it. And I'm talking about physical aggression, but verbal aggression, because I don't agree with the situation. And that's the same the other way around. It has to do with history. What a lot
Talking
of
to
people
Iwan
probably
Brava,
learn here
who was
about
born in
white people are
Suriname but
bad.
raised in the Netherlands, I realized that over the past 2.5 years that I live in Suriname, I stopped seeing myself as a woman with experience in traveling, as a journalist with writing skills, or as a 24-year-old with emotions. Not my brains, but my color started to decide if and when I opened my mouth. All because I want to prove that not all white people think they know it better. But being a migrant is more than a prejudice. In order to survive in the country that I chose to live in, I have to conquer my place, even though I am sometimes afraid to do so.
Of course, I understand because of the history. You don't want to be the white person who's going to tell these people how it works. That's okay, but it should not limit yourself by being yourself. So that means that you have to deal with it that you're white. And that means that, yeah, if you know it better, then you should tell the people how they can do it better.
I don't want to look like the
And I don't like the what? If people like you, come on.
like the one being
Yeah,
superior.
but who says you are? Who says you are superior?
I get that, like, people give me that feeling from time to time.
But you decide if you are superior or not. You're not superior.
You always, as an immigrant, also are a little bit scared to fight for your rights because you are like in exchange in this country. So you feel sometimes like, no, I cannot go fight because I'm not from this country, you know? So you need a lot of strength to go on, to block the feelings of missing your country, the feelings of missing your family, the tiredness because you have to work harder, because you have to prove yourself, you have to show why they need you and they won't give the job to somebody from their own country. So you have to, it's very challenging. So yeah.
Renate Sleusdom was born in Suriname and has lived 9 years in the Netherlands for studies and work. But because she was homesick, she moved back to Suriname, thinking she was back forever. Life decided differently, and when they offered her a teaching job in St. Martin, a small island in the Caribbean, she took it. Together with her 5-year-old daughter, she built up a life in St. Martin, but Suriname was pulling back at her. 3 times she moved back here, in 2007 out of homesickness, in 2017 because a hurricane destroyed all her belongings, and in 2019 because she could not find a job on the island anymore.
I don't know what it is, and I don't get a job. I don't know what it is. It can only be the fact that I'm not from there. They have the feeling, I think, I did something that you should not do when you are a real Saint Martiner. When I left for Suriname after the hurricane, right after the hurricane, I didn't realize that they think bad and speak bad about people that leave the island after a hurricane. They have the feeling that we leave them hanging. And we can't do that because we're not from there. You know, they used to tell me when I went back, yeah, I could go nowhere. I'm from here. Where would I go?
Like it's a bad day.
Yes, and I
When I
didn't
talked to
realize
Renate,
that I
she was
didn't
just 2
realize
weeks back
back
from her
then
last
that
attempt of building a life in St. Martin. Because she couldn't find a job again, she was compelled to come back to Suriname, where she is now working on her dream to build her own house.
the other day I was wondering what I can understand what brings somebody here or wherever. Adventure. But what kept you here? I think it is the way to be a migrant in a way.
Do you have like one word to describe it? Like being a migrant, what it is?
Being a migrant is, well, in more than one word, dare to be different. Daring to be different. Although I became a migrant because of financial reasons, it's still very much choosing. It was not hunger. But I think that daring to be different, I think that that's what it is. I think that's what I want to be. I want to be different.
I have this theory. I call it the future of migration is more of the same. What we need as humans is more migrants, because they are the difference and therefore they will make the difference. Migrants are the future, because the day that everybody is a migrant, everybody knows how it feels to be different, and so we become the same again. But before we reach that point, migrants have to deal with being the minority. For me, that means dealing with my skin color, language, accent, heritage, and prejudice from other people, but also from my own mind.
We're not different than animals. When you look at wildlife documentaries, it's harsh. The moment a baby elephant loses his mother, or a lion, or whatever, it's lost. And they say we people are gifted with reason. And because we are gifted with reason, that's why we tell each other, hey, we should not exclude each other because you're a woman, or because you're black, or because you are Christian or Muslim. That's why we have all these treaties, all these laws. But let's be honest. But then you look at mankind, we are as primitive as animals.
Being a migrant is exhausting. On good days, I forget my color. When I am biking, I am not looking at myself. I don't see myself walking down the street, playing soccer, talking, drinking, driving, or eating. Because everywhere I look, people are dark skinned. On good days, I forget that I am different, because everyone is the same. But I am not part of everyone. That hurts from time to time, especially when I get the feeling I am not treated in the same way as everyone else. A few weeks ago, a drunk guy harassed me on the street. After some sexistic remarks, he took my arm and tried to pull me off my bike. I will never know if he did that because I am a woman or because I am a white woman.
As long you belong to what they call the majority, you won't be confronted with racism. The moment you start being not part of the so-called majority, then you will be confronted. But actually, it's not because you're white, it's not because I'm black, it's not because you're not Suriname or Dutch. There is racism in the world, and you must be careful with that. There's sexism in the world. You must be careful with that. You must be cautious of all kind of dangerous things in life as a person. But being afraid, and because of that, you start doing nothing because you think, as long as I don't move, nothing will happen to me. Well, then you will survive, but you are not alive.
What I really wanted always was like to become a famous photographer. I really would like to go to California, work in a magazine, like a fashion magazine. I really love fashion photography, high fashion. Like that is what I really wanted since I came to Suriname, and I was working towards that. But it's difficult. The last year is where I finally found a good job, like with a good salary, and still it's not enough. So it's difficult to save money to live and to travel. That because those are the things I want to do: travel and save money to buy camera equipment. I don't know if I'm going to make it. So you start creating other dreams at the same time. So, for example, now I think I could be like a businesswoman in Suriname in the future. Like I also love the country. I love the friends I have here. So it's like I want to go, but at the same time I feel like maybe I can also do something big here. So I'm like, I don't know.
Nobody can see that I'm not used to live here for the last 12 years. But now and then, I feel a migrant because I'm a little bit strange. Some things I don't know, some things I forgot. I'm not home as yet. That means I feel like a migrant. And I felt like a migrant in St. Martin, not in a bad way. I felt very much at home, so it's not too bad, but you still feel as a migrant.
Can you describe that feeling?
Not to be allowed, not to be allowed completely.
After 2.5 years, Suriname is already part of who I am becoming. Still, I wonder if I will ever be part of this country. As a migrant, you make it your temporary life goal to become part of a country, culture, or society where you were not born. Still, the question lingers. Is it possible ever to be part of a country that is not your own?
Um, I'm not sure. For me, it is not really possible for me. I'm sure about that now. But I see other people do it. I see a lot of people in St. Martin, they never come back. I have friends, Surinamese people. They have children that never see their homeland. So I guess it's possible, but not so much for me. It's easier in St. Martin than it was in Holland. A lot easier. Because I don't look like a foreigner. I don't look like a migrant. I didn't feel like a migrant. I kind of feel like I'm from there. As long as I don't open my mouth, nobody knows that I'm not from there.
I came to Suriname for love. I stayed for work, but maybe even more for the challenge. I want to know if I can be a migrant, and I am curious about who I will become if I stay here. More so, at the moment I am convinced that I will become the best version of myself if I figure out how to survive in this country. The challenge is adventurous, but that doesn't mean life under the palm trees is easy.
Well, just imagine you would be a Jamaican migrant. Nobody would bother you about it. After 20 years, somebody from Guyana or Jamaica, he speaks like a Suriname person, and he as black as the other one. They would never look at him as a migrant. But you, even if you would talk like a Suriname person after 20 years, your skin color is still the same. They were always telling you, who are you to telling me, not realizing probably that maybe you live here already 20 years. That's how people are. People always gonna show you like, hey, you're different than one of us. You cannot have other people block you in gaining your goal. You cannot being silent. You cannot decide to live as a white person in a predominantly black society and then be silent the rest of your life. That will be devastating for you as a person.
I think somebody who live in a country for 1 year can still be a tourist because to meet the people, to meet the culture, to meet the place, you need more. I love cities and I love infrastructures and big buildings and stuff, but I don't know. It's like something, an energy that I feel from Suriname that it keeps me like I like Suriname or like I love Suriname. It's like my home.
Being a migrant is exhausting, adventurous, and different. But most of all, it is not being alone. By showing life can be lived differently, migrants of all colors and religion, all over the world, are slowly changing the world. We started this podcast with music from Surinamese artist Kenneth Arias, Paul Amirali, and jazz from Curaçao with Isaline Callister. I would like to end this podcast with a poem from Robin Ravales, a Surinamese poet, writer and politician from the 70s, better known under the name Dobru. With one bong, Dobru describes his dream that one day Suriname will be the ideal multicultural society, just as I dream that one day this might apply to the world. Thank you for listening.
One bong. So many viviri. One bong. One liba. So many krichi. Alaiga one se. One ede. So many praxeri. Praxeri pe one boom mus there. One gado. So many fasifu and beji. Ma one papa. So one sranang. So many viri. So many sting. So many tongo. One people.